Hello and good evening. Welcome to episode 48 of the Tunnel Podcast. Delighted to say that I am joined, as always, by Tom Goff. Tom, how are we doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate.
Look, for the second show running, we've got another special guest. We've got Jamie, the Portsmouth fan. He joins us. Usually you might see him live on TikTok, but tonight he's here live on the Tunnel. Jamie, thanks for coming on, mate.
No worries.
Excellent. Listen, we are going to talk everything championship tonight. There's loads to get through. Obviously, we'll start on Portsmouth, but since the last time we came on, we definitely have a title race on. If there ever was any doubt, that has now been cast aside. The top three sides only separating now by just 2 points, so loads and loads to get into. But we will start down on the south coast. Okay, we'll got a comment in straight away. This is one of your friends, in it. You know this, Katie Talks Rovers from TikTok. I've seen her there tonight. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, brilliant. Yes, so let's start with your beloved Portsmouth, if we can, Jamie. What a great result of the weekend. I don't think either of myself or Tom saw it coming. Maybe you did. Certainly John Massinho said he had a feeling heading into the game 12 o'clock yesterday.
Yeah, well, like I said, all week building up towards the match. Obviously, I personally didn't think myself that, we were going to be able to get a result like that against Leeds. Obviously, we went out to their ground at the beginning of the season, the first game, Ellen Road. Even then, we didn't expect to get a result out of that. So to have the game back at Fratton Park and also get a result like that against the league leaders, it was really special. I mean, the atmosphere at the ground was electric. It was rocking like it always does, practically all the time, and it has been all season. So, there was one or two little scary moments in the game. Basically, a lot of Leeds fans have turned around and said like they should have had a penalty awarded. When I've looked back at it now, a couple of times, you kind of do see Matt Ritchie does clip, Daniel James's back heel. So in a way, it should have been awarded. But obviously the referee didn't, give it for whatever reason it was. And apart from that, they had a couple of chances after that. Our keeper, Nicholas Smith, he was on pinpoint that day, absolutely brilliant. I haven't seen him be that, fantastic, all season, but I think he's starting to build the confidence, and he's getting more and more, confident in himself now, which is good to see. So, it was a really good day, for Pompey fans, as you can imagine, getting a massive result against, like I said, one of the top sides in the Championship. And for us, especially, trying to make sure that we survive in the Championship, it, gives us that extra, points also to get to a safety sort of barrier. Do you know what I mean? So,
well, Tom, actually, I'll come to you on that then. Actually, they're now 10 points clear at the bottom three. I think there was a bit of a cry, we are staying up on 90 odd minutes at full time, Tom. So, John Massinho wouldn't come out at the end of the game and say they're safe, because obviously mathematically they're not. We've got a big game on Wednesday night, which we'll touch on. Yeah. But really impressed with them yesterday, Tom?
Yes, mate. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, incredibly impressed with them. I think you're right at the start. I wasn't expecting them to, I was expecting Leeds to get the win. What you do know is that any team that goes to Fratton Park they're gonna have a game on their hands, with the crowd behind them. They're gonna make it incredibly difficult for absolutely everyone. I just thought that, the form Leeds have been on, top of the table for a reason, aren't they? The attacking players have got in their squad, that they'd see it through. But I did feel though that, Portsmouth were going to give them a real good game, a real good test. And I think you said as well in the last pod, with Sheffield United playing, on the Saturday, getting the 3 points, would that add a bit of extra pressure as well to Leeds playing on the Sunday? And I think it did. And look, I've been kind of reading, obviously I watched the game. I've been reading a few reports and stuff today, and a lot of salty Leeds fans out there saying it was a smash and grab. Look, as Jamie was saying, Leeds did miss some chances. There was the penalty call, wasn't there? And the Portsmouth goalie was unreal. He made some absolutely top draw saves, but I think smash and grab's a bit harsh. I thought I thought Portsmouth played incredibly well. They played to their strengths. They got in Leeds' faces, which I feel like you have to do. You've got to get into them a bit and get stuck in and a couple of nice crunching tackles, etc. I think, like I said, you've got to kind of make it as uncomfortable as possible for them, and I thought they did that. And when their chances came, they took one of them. Murphy was unlucky as well, wasn't he, not to get a second with that effort that hit the post. So I was really, really impressed with the fact that they got the 3 points. But like I said, the way they've been playing of late, especially at home, been picking up plenty of points at home of late. It wasn't that big of a shock, shall we say. I definitely thought they were going to give Leeds a good game.
Jamie, just on that then, twofold discretion. The first one is what Tom says, Fortress Fratton, they're calling it now. Well, one loss in 12, if I'm not mistaken. It really has been quite pivotal in terms of the turnaround, because you think at the start of the season, you mentioned the game at Ellen Road, the 3-3, but a great advert. You've just come up from League One. It was a right start. However, then I think it was just one win at the first 14 games. It could have been easy for the board and the people at the football club to kind of dismiss John Mousinho, but they stuck with him, and that home form has just became so important. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like you said, things didn't go practically brilliant for us at the start of the season. Obviously we had that draw and right, then we had a couple of lucky other draws as well. Then obviously things started to go a little bit wrong. Leading up to Christmas last year, majority of the fan base was like, what's going on here? Things are starting to go wrong here. It's not looking good for us. Like you said, the board have obviously put the faith in John. They could have got rid of him, like a lot of teams have done practically leading up towards Christmas, going into the new year. There was a lot of sackings with a lot of managers. I for one was saying to myself, do we cut our losses with John now and get someone else in while they're available? There was a few managers in mind that I had in mind possibly, but when you think about it logically, like, are you going to, really actually get those managers, to take over the Pompey job? Because, like, obviously it's a massive job, you know what I mean? And there are other teams out there as well, that might have been available at the time as well. They're looking for managers. So, but when I think back to it, I think obviously sticking with John, it was obviously the right thing, to do now, because obviously we've got through, like I said, the hard bit of the season now. We've taken a lot of big hits throughout the whole, season. And now to get towards the end of the season, now you're starting to see like things are starting to really come together. Now John's actually started to get, the right, formations together, and the players are starting to gel really well together as well. And the results are starting to coming in now. Do you know what I mean? And we're now starting.
Just on style of play then, because there was a in the post match he said he was most impressed with how they pressed. And I don't watch Portsmouth every week, so is that something that's was sort of game specific, or is that something you do at home? Obviously, myself and Tom were at the West Brom game at the Hawthorns, and I don't think you'll disagree. It wasn't your best display at the season. However, is that something you do at home? You do get on the opponent straight away?
Yeah, I've realised that obviously with a lot of the home games compared to the away matches, obviously we do press a bit differently, and I think with especially with the home games now, we're starting to like really press a lot more rather than playing from out the back football like we started to do at the beginning of the season, where we were new to the league. We thought maybe we could do what we were doing in League One, bring it into the Championship. But as the season progresses, you start to learn, you start to pick up on things, you start to see where you're going wrong. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, I think Mousinho and his backroom staff have realised that. They've analysed a lot of things and gone back and seen where they've gone wrong and where they can put it right, and learn off of pieces off of other teams as well. Do you know what I mean? So, I think recently I've started to see us play more pressing, attacking style football at home. Like, we did against Leeds. We knew we had to get in their faces, like Tom said, because otherwise, if you don't, you give them any spaces at all and you open up the doors, they're just going to take their chances. Do you know what I mean? And you're in trouble then. So I think watching an interview from Mousinho as well after the game, he said that he told the lads at half time, look, we had a good half. You know, we've got to go back out there for the second half, but I want you to maybe move up 3 or 4, inches up the field and attack really right in their face, because he felt more like if we did that, we're stopping them also from getting what they really want, and also we might even get one slight little glimpse of chance of possibly getting a goal in the back of the net, which obviously we did. It's nice to see the lads starting to do that, because obviously that's the type of football that you have to do in the Championship. Obviously you know yourself, Tom, that if you don't play that sort of type of football in the Championship, then you're in trouble, So,
Tom, just come to you just on something that Jamie said there about, maybe thinking about pulling the trigger back, November, December time, looking at the table. Plymouth changed, Luton changed, Derby have changed, Stoke have changed, Hull have changed, Oxford have changed. Preston obviously changed the early doors. Is it testament to giving a manager time, because they are starting to see the kind of fruits of his labour now?
Yeah, I think the Portsmouth, they deserve a lot of credit, the board, because like you said, there was. I remember thinking back to a few podcasts where we were discussing Pompey, and we were kind of floating floating that out there, weren't we, as to whether they should pull the trigger and roll the dice and bring in someone new, because they were struggling and stuttering a little bit. But I just feel that they've always shown kind of spells over the course of the season as a whole where they've shown glimpses that they can kind of compete at this level. They can handle themselves, obviously, especially at home. They didn't look. I don't think they've ever looked kind of a million miles off it, if you know what I mean. And I think like you said, a lot of the board deserve a lot of credit, because I think probably every team down there this season has got rid, haven't they, and brought someone new in to try and improve the fortunes on the pitch and start putting points on the board. And Portsmouth are the only ones really who have stuck with Mousinho, and and kind of, like Jamie was saying, he kind of learn and adapt and improve, slowly, but there has been signs of improvement there, and that faith that they've showed is now really starting to kind of come into fruition, isn't it? They're on a really good run at this moment in time. And I was looking back as well, some of the games where they haven't picked up points as well. They only just lost to Sheffield United and Sunderland away from home. They got a point against Burnley as well. So there was, even when they were dropping points, there was signs of improvement there, that he was starting to get a reaction out of the players. They were starting to kind of gel a lot better together, and like I said, you've got to give them a lot of credit for that, because everyone else has panicked, haven't they, and got rid and brought someone else in to try and get that reaction, where they haven't done that. They've kept the faith in him. They obviously rate him very highly. They obviously feel that there's a good bunch of players there with more to come from him as well. Like, there's some good young players in there as well, but there's balance with experience, the likes of Richie, etc. So it's good to see. And we always said, didn't we, Rob? I remember very early doors that we fancied them to stay in the division, because we felt like at home that they could they, like you said, they could turn it into a fortress. Fratton Park can be a real cauldron of noise at times, close to the pitch. The fans are the 12th man, aren't they, so to speak? And it may, at the start of the season, they were struggling a little bit to adapt and so on, but that's that kind of Fratton Park atmosphere is well and truly kind of there, isn't it, at the moment? And it's kind of it is giving him that extra little bit of edge and in these games that are coming up. Yeah,
Jamie, Tom was talking, I'm harking back to that 4-0 win over Coventry, who are obviously playoff hopefuls now. Callum Lang scored 4 that day.
That's one.
He's now missing, isn't he, through injury. Bishop looks to have stepped up, took the mantle. I think he's just signed a new contract as well. Talk to us about Kobe Bishop, because obviously it's been quite a journey for him since the summer.
Yeah, well, obviously, last season obviously finished. They come back this season. They did a heart scan on, obviously, Kobe. He found out obviously, something's wrong with, the heart scan that he had. So obviously they had to, do a operation on him. But obviously since he's been back from the operation, obviously he's slowly and steadily been coming on, building up. Obviously they weren't going to rush him back straight away, because obviously when you go for as you can imagine, for any player, when they have something massive like that, you've got to slowly and steadily let them come back. You can't just go, right, you're going on for 90 minutes, we ain't got no other options. But yeah, I mean, Kobe's been absolutely fantastic for us. He's since he's been back, I've seen the massive big difference within the team, scoring wise. Getting better, getting more stronger. And for Kobe himself, I think he appreciates the fact that the fans absolutely love him to bits. It's good to see also the fact that he has signed a new 3-year deal, because I think maybe some of the fans were more likely thinking, well, would he stay? Would he go? If we was going to be going down, there is every possibility, that a championship club was most probably keeping a close eye on him. Maybe, they're trying to track them. But yeah, I mean, I think he's absolutely fantastic. He is very vital up front for Pompey. And it is, it's just nice to have him back now, and actually, firing all cylinders, because when he was missing out of the team, we were thinking, oh God, what are we going to do? Who's going to be up front? Are we going to be able to score many goals? And then the team was just a little bit different. But like I said, since he's been back now, I think the team have now started to realise that, we're fine now. We can start providing the balls, and we can start relaxing a little bit more up front, and obviously, yeah, we'll start getting the points on the board as well. So, and there has been a massive big difference since he's been back. So,
Tom, just on that, it's so important to have a goal scorer at any level in this division. It looks like they've obviously got 2 when fit on their hands. Just as Jamie was saying there, it's the type of goals that Bishop seems to score as well. That's a really good, sort of clever finish at the weekend. He kind of invites melee on, him and Rodon get maybe into a bit of a mix-up, but it's that know-how to get it into the far corner off the post. It was a really good finish.
Yeah, it was a lovely little dink. He had a lot to do, didn't he? Like you said, there was a bit of hesitation from the Leeds defence and the goalkeeper, but he did well to obviously hold the line, stay on side, and then just draw Meslier out and dink it over him. It was a cracking finish, and it was well deserved. Like I kind of touched on earlier, in terms of kind of the fight and the spirit that they were showing on the day. He kind of embodied that, didn't he? He was all over the shop, getting stuck in. He was giving the Leeds defenders, a real game. He was, causing them all sorts of problems, and he definitely deserved his goal. And like Jamie was saying, I think you touched on Rob Lang scoring. He had a couple of good scoring spells, didn't he? A bit earlier on in the season. Like you said, he scored those 4 goals in that game against Coventry. But it'd be interesting to see if Jamie agrees with me. But he's not your kind of stereotypical number 9, is he? You kind of your focal point up top. The guy who can kind of hold the ball up, bring others into play. Can do bits in the air, but he's good on the ground as well. Langy's a bit smaller, isn't he? He's a bit slight, more of maybe a number 10 kind of player.
Yeah.
So they've obviously been missing Bishop, the time out, because since he's come back into the team and he's got back to full fitness and he started playing more minutes, it's kind of coincided with this upturn in fortune, Portsmouth, this run that they're putting together. He is that, like I said, I think I was reading earlier on the BBC website, Messina was, describing him as like a proper number 9, and that's what he is. He's got a bit of everything to his game. He's big, he's strong. Like I said, good in the air, scores goals in the air, on the floor as well. So yeah, he's got a bit of everything to his game, and he's obviously a very important player for Portsmouth. Like I said, this run that they've gone on, these points that they've got of late, it's kind of coincided in with getting back to full speed and starting the games and being a real presence up top for them.
Jamie, if I could just get your opinion as well on another man who, for me, at first glimpse, when I was kind of seeing him early on the season, it looked like a chap that might belong in the National League, Conor Ogilvie, the left fullback. He seems to have grown throughout the season. Great assist at the weekend as well. What do you make him at left back?
Yeah, Conor's really good. Obviously, there was times and points, obviously, throughout the season. I wasn't too sure whether or not if he was going to be able to survive the whole season. And obviously, we'd have to bring in another option. We did have other options there at the beginning, but unfortunately, one of our other left backs, Jacob Farrell, is obviously injured, so he's been out for the whole season. And also, we had to go in and bring in another left back. I think it's Cohen Bramall. So obviously, we've brought him in for the rest of the season from January down to the end of the season. So we have got another option there. But as for Conor, I mean, he's really good. He started to improve. Coming towards the end of the season now, I think there are times and points with Conor that he does get caught out when he does go up the wing a lot. And I've seen him in many games, especially at Fratton, that he gets caught out tracking back. I mean, I remember going back to the Leeds game away at Ellen Road. Dan James was pretty much, like literally all over him. He knew he was able to get to him, and it was a bit of a painful day for Conor to handle. He knew he was like, he had a real competition on his hand there. Do you know what I mean? And he was trying his best, to be able to keep it together. But then, obviously, with Leeds coming down this time, Fratton Park, I think he handled that situation even more better because he was able to improve from that, from that first day to, the game now, and he knew what to expect, with Dan James this time around, and also they've done, obviously, research and so on and all that with other previous games they've played. So, but yeah, I mean, he's a fantastic left back. He really is. He's strong. He's really good at assists, crossing them in. Sometimes, he might get a cheeky goal in the back of the net. But yeah, I think he's brilliant. He's really fantastic. I like him a lot, and yeah, he's really good. He's a good vital part for the team. So,
as I say, definitely impressed me yesterday. Maybe a little bit more so than he did at Bramall Lane where he missed that open goal, but we won't talk about that too much tonight. I listened to obviously Marlon Pack, the captain, speaking after the game, and it was quite interesting to see, they were kind of pressing him as well to kind of commit to, are they safe in the Championship this season? And he wouldn't do so, and rightly so. All eyes on Wednesday night. However, what he did say was that Championship safety was, a real kind of pertinent point for building foundations to kind of to go again. He said it was more important than winning League One was kind of staying in the Championship. Obviously, I think they probably see themselves certainly as a Championship club at least, Tom.
Yeah. Sorry, mate, I was just unmuting. Yeah. No, look, he's no player's going to come out now and say, he's safe. Like you said, there's still obviously quite, a lot of points still up for grabs. The Championship is absolutely bonkers. Anything can happen. But the side, as an outsider looking in, as a neutral, I'd be astonished if Portsmouth were to go down now. It's not just the gap that they've built, the 10 points they've got at this moment in time, but it's just they're playing with real confidence at the moment. Like Jamie's been discussing, the team really seems to be in a good place at this moment in time. Especially at home. I don't think anyone in the division wants to go and take them on at Fratton Park. So there's a lot of positives at this moment in time. And if I was to have a stab, I'd fancy him to pull even further clear of those teams down the bottom. I really do. So and look, I think I don't know. But it might get to a point. It depends how many points they can put on the board. If they can get another kind of 2 or 3 wins, early.
Let's put Jamie on the spot then, because a question I want to ask is: do you really, or could you now start looking, up rather than over your shoulder? You've got Plymouth at home, Preston away, Blackburn at home. Now look, Blackburn, you saw them at the weekend. Their fans aren't happy what they're seeing under Ismail early on. These seem winnable games towards the end of the month.
Yeah, I mean, they do and they don't, because obviously, as anyone knows in the Championship, look, I mean, I'm a realistic fan. I don't, sort of fantasize over, like winnable games or, whatever. But like, they are winnable games in a way, but then again, in the Championship, it can go wrong at any moment. You can end up losing games just when you think you're off to a good start and things are looking good on the up. They can turn itself around, and for instance, like, look, listen, we've got a game on Wednesday against Plymouth Argyle, like you've mentioned, that could end up possibly, turning into a draw, or Plymouth may even come down and, possibly get a win at Fratton Park. So just because, don't get me wrong, we've won a lot of games at home. It doesn't mean to say that it can't all go wrong for us, because it can at any moment. I mean, like, obviously,
is it that balance of arrogance and confidence? You've just beat Leeds. You've maybe got Plymouth coming down. Is it important that Mourinho tries to just get the players in that mindset that that Sunday means nothing if we lose on Wednesday?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think to be honest, really, like Mourinho said after the game, don't get me wrong, it's good to win against, a top side like Leeds, the league leaders. But, if you go into Wednesday night's game against Plymouth thinking, Pompey's going to win it, just because we just beat Leeds on, the weekend just gone, then think again, because there's no guarantees in that. I mean, like, as you know yourself that Plymouth are fighting for their lives, to survive in this league as much as we've been scrapping to survive as well, So, that I have no doubt that Plymouth are coming up to Fratton Park on Wednesday, to scrap away for 3 points, if they can, or even try and get a draw, out of it. But, I was just going to say about, even the Blackburn game coming up on the 29th of March, there's no guarantees within that as well, because obviously, we went to their ground and obviously, we lost that game. So, but, with our home form at the moment, I think, obviously we feel confident enough that we are capable of doing it. But I wouldn't want to get too carried away myself, being a Portsmouth fan, about all the rest of the remaining home games, because like I said, again, it could go wrong at any sort of moment. But obviously I don't want it to. I want us to try and finish as high as what we can, with enough points that we can just turn around and go, all right, now we can start to relax. But it's like Mourinho said as well, if anyone thinks that we can start to relax now, we can't, because, the Championship is just unpredictable, so.
Well, 2 points behind QPR. I would suggest with the 3 fixtures I've just called out, I'm going to go bold and say going to be mid-table by the end of the month, but don't hold me to it. Okay, you can relax a little bit. We'll leave Portsmouth alone for the next 20 minutes or so. Tom, we've got to start. Obviously that win for Portsmouth is blowing the title race wide open. Obviously on Saturday we saw Sheffield United sneak past Preston, and Burnley just absolutely blew Luton away. That's 8 they've taken them for without reply this season. We've got a 3-way title race.
Yes, mate. Yeah, like you said, it's definitely that Pompey win has definitely made things really interesting again, hasn't it? For as much as we've been waxing lyrical about Leeds, the last 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it's been, they still haven't managed to kind of pull themselves away and get a good gap between themselves and Sheffield United and Burnley. And we were saying it last week, weren't we? I don't think enough credit was being given to both Sheffield United and Burnley for the fact that they have kept pace, with Leeds, and they've just been waiting, haven't they, for Leeds to slip up. I think it was 17 unbeaten. I think it was for them, wasn't it? Prior to the game against Portsmouth, and they did their business on Saturday. They all kind of sat down with the Sunday roast on Sunday, hoping that, Portsmouth were going to cause a shock and do the business for them. And then they did exactly that. And then, like you said, you're looking at the table now. Leeds, Sheffield United, both on 76, Burnley on 74. It's looking just really tantalising, isn't it, mate? It's funny, isn't it? Because after the Leeds beat Sheffield United, probably 2 or 3 games back?
I think 2 weeks ago, tonight it was. I think.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, we were kind of thinking, are they going to start pulling away now and forging a bit of a gap? But it's not happened. They're right hot on their tails, and it looks like it's going to go right down to the wire, doesn't it? To be honest with you, it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see how that plays out.
Jimmy, just out the 3 sides, obviously we spoke about Leeds a little bit there, but Burnley seem to be going about it quite quietly. I know they've got this, that's them equal Sunderland's clean sheet record in the Championship. That's 26 apiece. You'd imagine they'll probably get another one before the end of the season, maybe even tomorrow night against West Brom. Who knows? That was a 0-0 the last time those 2 sides met as well. So Scott Parker, after the game on Saturday, said, look, it's foot to the floor now. We've got to just go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like Tom said, obviously it has been blown wide open at the top of the table now. Especially after Sunday just gone, what we did to Leeds, and I think that a lot of the Leeds fans know this now. Obviously it has made things a little bit differently at the top. And also Sheffield United fans and Burnley fans will be, obviously they've all been thanking Pompey fans, for obviously, that result of the weekend. They've non-stop been, coming on my live on TikTok saying, thanks a lot for that. We appreciate it.
Baskets and cupcake baskets at your door, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. So they've all been coming on saying thank you very much. We appreciate that. And, but no, I mean, it will make it interesting, like Tom said. Towards the end of the season now with those, other 2 teams involved. Personally, for me, I feel like that. Like you said, Burnley, they are a little bit, sort of quiet, but they're starting to sneak up now. But I feel that, for me, I feel Burnley might just claim that second spot and Sheffield United might drop out of that, position. And they might have to just obviously settle for, obviously the top 4. So, the playoffs and that. So, but obviously, it'd be interesting, coming towards the end of the season, really, because obviously I'm pretty sure, a lot of fans would be saying, well, like, there's no guarantees in it. But when you look at Burnley, like you said, it's Scott Parker's obviously said to the team, look, listen, we've got every chance here to still claim that second spot. We just got to be right on it now. It's the same for Sheffield United. They know that they've got every possible chance to go on and win the league, and maybe, destroy things for Leeds, and I think this is why a lot of Leeds fans are really starting to worry and panic just a little bit, because they know that it was possibly like this time last year that they did the same thing last year. Do you know what I mean? And things were looking on the up for them, and then all of a sudden it started to go all wrong again, and I've had a few Leeds fans saying, obviously that to me as well, saying like it was this time last year that it all went wrong for us when it was looking on the up, and now all of a sudden again it's starting to appear again, on the horizon. So it's like I said to a lot of Leeds fans, look, listen, look, I know, yeah, fair enough, you've just obviously, the result didn't go your way the weekend, but there's no need. I wouldn't say start a panic just yet, but yeah, obviously it's given the other 2 teams an option, there to obviously, see what they can do. And yeah, like I said, for me, I really strongly feel like Burnley will claim that second spot. I just got some sort of weird feeling in the back of my mind, like it is going to happen, So,
Tom, as Jimmy says there, kind of this time last season, it always brings out, the Joy Division track, doesn't it? And that's what they get hammered at them at every ground they go to. Daniel Farke's got to get them up this year. He won't get another chance. He won't. I just don't see that if he doesn't do that. But on the other side of that, when Jimmy says Sheffield United are going to maybe slip out the top 2, he feels they seem to just be getting results by hook or by crook. And I know it's not sometimes easy on the eye. I think we mentioned Leeds should have had a penalty. Preston had a good penalty shout.
Yeah. They were
really good penalty shout.
Yeah, they were lucky against Preston. I only watched the extended highlights, but it seemed like Preston gave them a good game. That was definitely a penalty. I have no idea how the ref, missed that one, which was when the game was at 0-0. So, it would have put Preston ahead. And it could have been a completely different game. So, yeah, they had most definitely had a bit of luck at the weekend, rode their luck at times as well. But this is the thing with them, isn't it? And we've been saying this quite, consistently, haven't we, over the last few weeks, is that they just know how to win games. They're just grinding out, those wins. They've had a lot of 1-0s, haven't they? They haven't played particularly well in games, but they've just got the job done and they get another 3 points on the board. I'd be inclined to agree with Jamie. I said, didn't I, when we made our predictions last time round, I fancied Burnley to sneak that second place spot. I just felt it had been so good defensively that if they could start turning it, cranking it up a notch in attack, they made some additions in January, then, there's going to be no stopping them really. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening, isn't it? They've started scoring more goals. I know they obviously, the guy got sent off, didn't he, for Luton, which obviously helped them. But it's been a few times, hasn't there, in the last couple of weeks where they've scored kind of 3 or 4. So they seem to be improving at that end of the pitch as well. But then, like we've said, Leeds have just got this, every time you think that, this will be the season when the nerves aren't going to get to them and that they will steer clear, they will pull away a bit. This is the season that they're definitely going to get promoted into the Premier League, automatics. They're not going to be in the playoffs. They always seem to stutter, don't they? Right at the very end, it's just this weird kind of this weird mindset that they have as a club as a whole. Like Jamie was saying, their fans, after that defeat, I've seen a lot of it on social media. They're all starting to panic now that this is the start of that kind of stuttering finish to the season, which always costs them. I still feel that they are the best team in the division, in my opinion. On their day, they are a real joy to watch. Great going forward, but good defensively as well. It will be that mental side which will cost them, because it shouldn't be quality. They've got the best team by some distance, in my opinion. It will be that kind of mental block once again coming into play and having an impact. But we'll see. I don't know. I haven't had a look at the fixtures midweek yet. I don't know who Leeds.
We will come on to that.
All right, yeah.
Powder dry. We'll come on to that. Let's quickly then shift our attentions to the playoff places. Obviously, they're hotting up as well. Sunderland were absolutely nailed on. Are going to be in that top 4. I don't see them dropping out of that, and it's going to be one of the others that you guys have just mentioned. But it's 5th and 6th. That's where the race is on. Jamie, Coventry City. They're the side that there's always one, isn't there, that seem to come from nowhere, and it's been them really. They've just gone on a great run. That's 9 wins out of 10. That's history made for the football club, in this division. What have you kind of made of Frank Lampard's kind of short tenure?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, things didn't quite take off. I suppose at the beginning of his appointment, he's just, obviously, easing himself into it. But obviously, like you said, things have started to, look really good for them now. They're starting to pick up a lot of wins, starting to surprise a lot of, teams up there, that thought maybe they wouldn't be able to do it. So, yeah, I mean, I've been obviously impressed, as a Pompey fan, how well that he's managed to get the team going and give them a possible chance of, getting into the playoffs. And, that's it's always nice to see that. But the thing is that, again, obviously, you have got a lot of other teams around there, and like I said, again, from one week to another, the table can change, obviously, with obviously those other teams that are surrounding, the playoff spots, so, but yeah, I think he's doing a good job. you know, and I think the fans, you know, really starting to take to him now. I wasn't too sure at the beginning how well it would have gone for them, because obviously, you know, you think of Lampard, you know, like his other appointments elsewhere, you know, I know at Derby County, you know, he wasn't too bad. And then obviously he went to Chelsea, he had a spell there. Then he had one at Everton. Didn't quite go to, you know, as well as what he'd like to have been. But when I heard the rumours about Lampard possibly going to, you know, like Coventry, I spoke with a few other Coventry fans on my, you know, live on TikTok, and I said to them, you know, what do you think? And they were like, well, you know, we want someone else. They couldn't quite understand why, you know, Mark Robins was sacked, you know, because obviously he was doing a fine job as far as they were concerned. But obviously, you know, things happen. For whatever reasons they were behind the board's decisions, and obviously, you know, there was a few names in the hat before even Lampard got the appointment, but obviously, you know, he was the one they picked, and it's obviously turned out to be a really good appointment, ain't it? So
100%. I think I have to agree with how you've closed that there. 100%. Tom, is the difference? Jimmy says that, you know, they should be counting the chickens yet. There's plenty of teams in and around it. You know, yourselves, who will come on to, Bristol City, Blackburn, Middlesbrough, you know, Watford and Norwich as well. Is the difference between those other clubs that are just outside the playoffs to Coventry synergy? You know, synergy between Lampard and the supporters and the players seems sky high at the moment. Then you're looking at clubs like Middlesbrough. You know, the fans have had enough by the look of it. You know, they were kind of saying, you know, that was the worst performance they've seen under Carrick's tenure at the weekend. That way defeated Swansea. You know, Blackburn fans are already making their mind up on Valérien Ismaël. These other clubs seem like they're not together at the minute, whereas that doesn't seem the case at Coventry.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, mate. I think that's what you know, Coventry, Bristol, and then ourselves, you know, in terms of form out of all those teams chasing those last two playoff spots, I think, you know, there's a lot more positivity around those clubs, not just because of, you know, the fact that they're on better runs than those other teams, but I think, you know, just all, you know, the fan bases are very much behind the managers, aren't they? Frank Lampard doing a fantastic job at Coventry. Liam Manning's really kind of turned things on at Bristol City. Tony Mowbray, obviously a big fan favourite at West Brom. Like you said, all the other clubs, yeah, they've all had in different seasons, haven't they, so to speak? And like you said, with Blackburn losing Eustace and all that drama as well, you know, the worry was that it was going to derail them somewhat, and it's looking like that might be the case. But yeah, look, it's infuriating because I thought that Coventry were going to drop points. Yeah, when Stoke managed to get that equaliser with about 3 minutes to go, whatever it was, I think it might have been even less than that. I thought, okay, finally, yeah, they're going to drop some points here.
I could have seen his text messages to me in the WhatsApp group. He was delighted, but didn't last long, did it?
No, I was obviously buzzing, but then this is the thing: is look, you know my opinions on Stoke, but you felt that there was still a goal, you know, in Coventry, you know, with the, like you said, with the way they're playing, the confidence, the fans right behind them. You just even, you know, even with the clock ticking into the 96th minute or whatever it was, you just still felt like, you know, Coventry could carve out an opportunity here and get the winner. And, you know, I think that's testament to Lampard, that the, you know, the job he's doing, the, like you said, the kind of confidence he's instilled into the players, that, and it, you know, it'll be interesting to see, but I know it's got to be at least 4 or 5 times they've late, you know, they've scored really late to win games, you know, so they've got this.
He's done that at home. He done it a few weeks ago, doesn't he? Scored a really
yeah. They've got this never say die attitude, have they? And they're just playing right till the very end, which again is testament to Lampard. You know, the attitude that he's instilled into him, and like out of all those teams there, I think if you know you ask most people, I think the vast majority of them will be giving one of those last 2 places to Coventry, and then you know, and then someone else for the other spot. I think, you know, they are that informed team at the moment, and every time you think, well, yeah, this will be the week that they drop points, it doesn't happen. They've won another 5 or 6 on the bounce, I believe. After they lost the game, they've won another
5 straight wins.
Yeah, 5 straight wins. So, they are absolutely flying. The only thing I would say, and I've mentioned it to you a bit, is this is how nervous I've been getting. I've been looking at other teams' fixtures and seeing who they've got, to end the season. And I know that they have got a bit of a tough run, but even against the division's best, you'd still fancy them, wouldn't you, with the way that they're playing at the minute? And like I said, the confidence sky high throughout the team. So yeah, as much as it pains me to say it, mate, he's doing a great job. And I was like Jamie, wasn't I, at the start? I didn't think the move was gonna work out. I remember being quite smug after Portsmouth battered them at their place, and because it was probably Lampard's 3rd or 4th game, something like that, maybe a couple more. It was quite early on, wasn't it? And I was like thinking, I've got this one right, but yeah, I've been made to eat my words, haven't I? He's turned things around there, and they look a dead cert for one of those playoff spots, don't they?
Yeah, listen, I could do a whole podcast on Sakamoto. I could just watch that kid all day. He's been brilliant last 2 games. Okay, then West Brom, Jamie. I'll get your point before he kind of runs off for another hour about it. But they had a man sent off at the weekend. Tony Mowbray then changes his formation a little bit, and they kind of hold out. That they appealed that red card. It's been upheld this evening before we've came on air, so they'll be without Darnell Furlong for the next 3 games. West Brom's next few matches are a little bit trickier than the ones they've just faced. Obviously, they had yourselves, they've had Oxford, they've lost the likes of Blackburn as well, but they're still hanging on in there. Do you think they'll make the top 6 come the end of the season?
Personally, I thought coming towards the end of the season that they would be one of the teams up there. I've said it to many people on TikTok that, if I had to put, a couple of teams up there within the playoff spots, one of them would have been West Brom. Going to their grounds. I went to their ground that day, when we went up there and we lost.
You're probably waving to me and Tom, and these stand there.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a painful one to take that day, but in all fairness, seeing the way that obviously we play compared to West Brom that day, you could obviously see why you would most probably put them up there as playoff contenders for the playoffs. But yeah, for me personally, with Tony Mowbray back there now, he's doing a fantastic job. He's kind of got the team going in a way, and whether or not if I see them at the moment as playoffs sort of contenders because of the other teams around, obviously, like I said, floating about. For me, I'd most probably still stick with what I said, that they would be one of them. Because obviously I just can't see anyone else, other than maybe Coventry or possibly Blackburn maybe getting in there. But I would like to, I'd more likely stick with West Brom, being up there and obviously, having a good, good crack at it really. So, I think they're good enough, obviously, because like I said, even when they came down to Fratton Park, they were really good. They showed a lot of true class, like at Fratton Park, they got some fantastic players, that can cause a lot of issues. And like I said, with Tony Mowbray back at the reins now, I think they feel a bit more confidence in them, and the players feel more confident, the fans feel more confident now that, they can maybe just quite get themselves into the playoffs and possibly give themselves that possible chance of returning to the Premier League again. So I kind of, see them as one of them up there,
Tom, it's interesting what Jamie says here about, the players looking kind of renewed and playing a bit of freedom. I don't know if you saw the Jed Wallace piece earlier in the week, where he spoke about Carlos Corberán and approaching him to say that his baby was on the way, and he said, well, what time do you need to go? What time will you be back? Kind of thing. He said, no, it's an all-day thing. There was a real intensity apparently under Corberán. That seems to have gone, and as you said, there's a freedom kind of on the pitch in terms of style of play. What did you think at the weekend, with the red card and then, the change of shape, the change of personnel?
Yeah, well, look, the last 2 games where we drew with Leeds 1-1, at Leeds, and then, won that game at the weekend 1-0, but we had to play the second half, with 10 men against a decent QPR team. Yeah, I've been more pleased with those performances than the ones prior where, we've maybe been, we knew when Tony Mowbray come in that he was going to be more attack minded. He was going to look to get more out of our attacking players because, Corberan, brilliant in terms of getting teams organised and being defensive, etc. But, one of the gripes the fans did have that he was maybe, not getting enough out of some of the attacking talent we had. So when Mowbray come in, we knew that was what he was going to try and do. He was trying to get more out of the attacking players. But then, as you know, Rob, I was then worried that, are we going to lose a bit of that defensive stability? And there was a couple of games where, it was starting to hint that was what was happening. We were getting better going forward, but we were.
Blackburn game was probably a prime example.
Yeah, we were starting to regress a bit in defence, but the last two games, it has pleased me no ends in terms of, we've had to kind of dig deep and kind of backs to the walls at times, but we've, been really well organised in defence, and, we've kept the opposition at bay. So yeah, I was really pleased with the fact that we managed to hold on, get the 3 points. Given the way the other results went as well over the weekend, that 3 points was really big. Look, Jamie's more confident than me, I think, than us getting into the playoffs. But I think those last two performances have given me more confidence in us locking down one of those playoff places, because it's shown me that under Mowbray we can do, we can kind of grind out and dig deep and work hard and kind of shut up shop, as well as, play well going forward, like we did in that game against Portsmouth. So yeah, it's filled me with more confidence. One thing I've got to say, Jamie, whilst you're on the show, and Rob, that is the Portsmouth fans were unreal, weren't they, in that game, Rob? The fact that we were saying afterwards, I was a bit embarrassed because obviously I'm the West Brom supporter. Rob came along to watch the game, and I was saying, wasn't I, Rob? Like, the Portsmouth fans were out singing us at times, and we were kind of 3-4-0, 3-4-0 up. You were 10 times louder than we were, and so yeah, testament to you guys, on the day, and kind of again slightly off track, but ties into what we were talking about at the start. How important I think the Pompey fans are to this turnaround in form, but. But yeah, sorry, digressing. Coming back to what you're saying, Rob. Yeah, look, I think.
On you go. Finish up.
I was just going to say, mate. Yeah, look, we're in that mix. We're in the mix where we've stopped. We've only lost once in our last 6 now. We're starting. There's signs of a bit of a run there, a bit of consistency. But like you're going to touch on, we've got a few tricky games round the corner, which I feel are going to be kind of season defining for us. Well, I don't think they will be season defining for us. They're teams in and around us. Let's absolutely massive games.
Give me a quick sort of piece on tomorrow night. So we just spoke about Burnley there, how impressive they've been in terms of at the back. You've now said that they've added goals as well. Do you think it'll be Holgate that will come in at right back? What do you see in terms of change?
Yeah, it'll be Holgate. Look, it's very disappointing. It's Furlong's one of our key players. He's kind of integral in that defence, and to lose him for 3 games, it's bitterly disappointing. It's a funny one because a lot of the Albion fans were trying to make out it was nothing. It was a soft red card, and it was absolute ludicrous decision by the way. I just felt it was unnecessary. He didn't need to kind of go into the player like he did, and I just think you always run the risk, don't you? Then if you catch them of getting sent off, and so I didn't have much sympathy for him, to be honest. I thought it was a bit stupid from Furlong, and the hope is now. Look, Holgate's obviously a accomplished player. He's great to have to come in and replace him. So I'm not too worried in that sense, but. Yeah, Burnley, mate. Look, again, it's like I said before the Leeds game. If you offered me a point right now, I'd absolutely snap your hand off, to be honest, mate. If we can come away with a point tomorrow, I think that'll be fantastic. And it keeps that run going, doesn't it? I know it's not 3 points, but it's not a defeat, isn't it? You keep that unbeaten run going, and you kind of take the confidence with you, don't you? So,
Jamie, just on the top three, then obviously you mentioned, Burnley have obviously got West Brom on Tuesday. Sheffield United have got Bristol City on Tuesday night, and it's Leeds Millwall on Wednesday night. Obviously, Millwall managed to get a win at Elland Road, albeit in the FA Cup only a matter of weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, I've been speaking about this obviously on my TikTok live about it, about obviously those games coming up. Obviously, I think Leeds are well aware of obviously that Burnley being at home, Sheffield United being at home, they could possibly go third, before Wednesday night. Obviously, with that result on Sunday, this is one of the reasons why I think Leeds, the fans are starting to, panic and worry and like, things are going to go wrong just like it did last time. And, but I turned around and said to them, just like, calm yourselves down. Like it's not like mathematically, actually done. You're still there. You're still, possibly gonna maybe win the league. And you're still, but yeah, Millwall going up to Elland Road, like you said, they got a result last time in the cup, going up there. I mean, we know what Millwall's like. Also, we had them down at our ground recently. They won 1-0. They gave us a good cracking game that night. And I personally didn't think, obviously, they were going to be able to do that. But going up to Elland Road, obviously, anything's possible. I mean, like, for example, if you look at, like, us going up there or any other, random team going up there, like, anyone can possibly shock Leeds on the day, and they just won't expect it. Do you know what I mean? But I think after Sunday's result, obviously against us, I personally feel like Leeds will be personally like really, really switched on, and they're going to have to be really, because if they know that Burnley and Sheffield United do both win, then it is like, it's game on then, you know what I mean, for the top spot. So,
Tom, I'll come to you just we'll finish up here on the bottom three. It's must win for all three, really, isn't it? I know Derby got the win at the weekend, which was momentous for a number of reasons, but Luton have got Cardiff down in South Wales. You think if Luton, if Cardiff win that, you have to say it's probably curtains for Luton. Certainly, Derby, they welcome Lampard back to Pride Park. That could be a really tricky one, given how well we've just spoke about Coventry for the last kind of 5 minutes there as well. And obviously, Argyle are travelling to Pompey, which is a real tough test. So these three sides, we are starting to struggle now and see where are they going to pick up the next 3 points.
Yeah, look, it's getting to that time in the season now, isn't it, where just every game's just absolutely vital, isn't it? And it doesn't matter how you get the points, you've just got to try and get them somehow. And there's some tasty games, isn't there, for sure, this week. Like you said, Cardiff City, Luton. Cardiff are one of those teams, aren't they, that are just hovering above the relegation zone. So their mindset will be, well, look, if we can get 3 points at home against a really poor Luton Town team, that pushes us further away from them, at least, doesn't it? And like you said, I think it's probably game of the midweek, isn't it? I'm not just saying it because Jamie's here as well, but the Portsmouth, Plymouth, 2 South Coast teams. I think Portsmouth are obviously in a better position, but it's like Jamie was saying earlier on. If they don't, you feel as if they don't go and get a win against Plymouth at home, that it just kind of cancels out all that hard work that they did at the weekend against Leeds, doesn't it? And like you're right, Rob, Plymouth, it's for all, they almost turned a bit of a corner, didn't they, when Murridge come in, and we were speaking so highly of the work he was doing, especially in defence. But it does seem like of late that they've kind of regressed a little bit, and it seems like he's struggling to get any more out of him, especially in attack, doesn't it? They're really struggling to score goals. So, it's not quite last chance saloon for them, but it's getting close, isn't it? So yeah, that's a cracking game. And yeah, Derby. Look, I'm hoping for them to do us a favour. Coventry, obviously, scrapping for one of those playoff places alongside ourselves. And look, that win for them was massive, wasn't it? I felt, in terms of kind of being done and dusted, I felt if Blackburn were to have got all 3 points against Derby, and given the circumstances as well, John Eustace coming up against his old team and all the drama, that went on there, I pretty much felt like that would have been a nail in the coffin for Derby. But they, fair play to them, they got the win. They managed to hang on, but they've got to go and do it again, haven't they? Really, to stand any chance, they've got to start putting a bit of a run together, haven't they? If they're gonna stay in the division. So yeah, look, it's exciting, isn't it, mate? This is why we're all football fans, isn't it? It's this stage of the season. What we've got 10, 11 games left, isn't it? Championship. There's not many teams who aren't playing for something either, are they? Everyone's playing for something, really. So yeah, looking forward to it, mate. Nervous, but yeah. And look, there's always upsets, isn't there? We always try and kind of give our take, predict, the outcome. But every week there's 2 or 3 upsets, games that go the way that you didn't expect them to. And undoubtedly, I think there will be this week as well. So yeah, can't wait.
Excellent. Okay, we'll call it a night there because we're in the extra time. So thanks as always to anyone who's watched, and give us a like and share a comment. We appreciate that. Thanks to Tom. He'll be back with myself later on this week. Jamie, thanks again for joining us. You're welcome.
No worries.
Put in a good shift. Yes. So if you're going to a game tomorrow or Wednesday night, enjoy your football, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks for joining us.